Hi, today we will be discussing who Peppin the Short was, and how he became an important figure in the church's history. Enjoy.
Peppin the Short, also known as Peppin the Younger or Peppin the Third, was born in the year 714 in the town of Jupier.
Wait, I thought it was pronounced Jubilee.
Isn't it Jupil?
Well, I thought it was Jumbo.
Nope, it's Jupier, and it is now known today as Belgium. His father was Charles Martel, mayor of the palace and Duke of the Franks. His mother's name was Rotrud. Peppin and his older brother, Carloman, were educated by monks of Saint Denis, which heavily impacted their relationship with the church. Peppin married Bertrada of Leon in 740. She was his second cousin.
What? After the death of Peppin's father in 741, Charles Martel, power was passed down to Carloman and Peppin as mayors of the palace. Peppin reigned over Francia, jointly with his elder brother Carloman. Peppin ruled in Nuestia, Burgundy, and Provence, while his brother Carloman controlled Austrasia, Alemannia, and Thungria.
Some great names.
Yeah, I think they ran out of names at that point.
Well, Jose, did you know, though, that there was also a third son, an illegitimate son of Charles Martel? I wonder what he did there. But he was actually Peppin and Charlemagne imprisoned Grifo, the illegitimate son, in a monastery.
So Grifo was basically the Loki of the 700s.
Yep.
Seems like it.
Yeah. Well, Carloman, his brother, retired to the monastery in 747. This left Francia in the hands of Peppin. He ruled over everything at this point. Childeric had the title of the king, but Peppin had control over orders and actually had the power of the king. Peppin, because of this, went to ask the Pope Zachary who should be the complete ruler, the person who had the title of the king or the person who was making the decisions of the king.
Decisions,
I agree. That reminds me of the Queen of England, about how she's kind of like the puppet in terms of authority, but the parliament is what really makes all the decisions.
Yeah, that would make him a puppet king. Mm-hmm. Even the times where there were actual kings, there were puppet kings.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a puppet queen.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Well, the Pope agreed that the decision-making was more important than having the actual title of the king. Because of the Pope's decision, the church was in favor of allowing Peppin to be the king of all of Francia.
Yay, make Francia great again.
Yeah, everybody clap it up.
Well, because of this, the opposition was discouraged since he already had the support of the church. He was elected king of the Franks in 751 by an assembly of the Turkish leading men and anointed...
Frankish leading men.
Frankish, oh, that's right. Frankish leading men. Turkish were really far away from here. And he was anointed at Soissons, perhaps by Boniface, Archbishop of Mainz.
Sounds like Heinz ketchup.
Maybe.
Not an ad.
He created it.
So, guys, all said and done, Pope Zachary makes Peppin the king. And Peppin, knowing that the Pope is the one who decides is the next king. And Childeric is no longer the king of the Franks anymore. So the pretty face is now gone. And Peppin was actually the first of the Carolingians to become king.
Carolingians?
Carolingians?
I think that's right.
Carolingians.
Roll with
Were
it.
these the
Roll
people
with
that
it.
founded Carolina?
Yeah, same people.
Both.
Yeah.
So actually, Stephen II comes after Zachary, but Peppin wins Stephen over to his favor, and Stephen II is the one to anoint Peppin as king in 754 A.D. at Saint Denis Basilica. Thank you guys so much for the help. Giving.
Yeah, you're welcome. You always know.
You're right. Founders, I got you coffee. Giving him the additional title as Patricius Romanorum, Patrician of the Romans.
What does that even mean?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you. Maybe I should know that.
He's a patrician.
Um,
A pediatrician?
I hope he's not.
That'd be so underwhelming.
yeah.
Anyways,
his first major act, was going to the war against the Lombard king Aistulf. And he was victorious and forced the Lombard king to return property seized from the church.
in the year AD 759, Peppin drove the Saracens out of Gaul by the capture of Narbonne. This victory led to the integration of Aquitaine into the kingdom. Defeating the Saracens was significant because it led to the start of the Frankish expansion. As his kingdom grew and his influx of power increased, he began to abuse his power and use his reputation to sway the church and fulfill his political agenda.
Well, though he was a great emperor, a great king, and he expanded the Frankish Empire, his son Charlemagne overshadowed Peppin's reign by far.
Yeah, and Charlemagne plays a really significant role. I mean, towards the end of Peppin's career as ruler, he decides to go to war with the Saxons, but his health is so poor that he leaves the task for his son Charlemagne.
I mean, Charlemagne was better than him in every sense, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Oh, maybe not. He was second, so seconds are always better, I guess. Maybe.
That's the saying.
That's what the losers say, yeah.
In 768, at only age 54, in St. Denis, Peppin died. It's so sad, right? Aren't y'all
Very
sad?
sad.
Peppin's died. And then his wife, Bertrada of Lyon, was also buried with him after her death in 783. To the very end of his reign, he continued to build his father's legacy, strengthening of the army, spreading of the Frankish church. Peppin completed the work of his father.
He was a great son.
No, that is a great son.
I want to
Good
have a
job,
son just
Peppin.
like him.
Despite not being known as one of the greats or greater than his father or son, Peppin was undefeated and he impacted the Frankish people greatly during his time.
Why was he named Peppin the Short, though?
Well, he had to be short
Short life.
to get that name.
Was it a short life? Maybe he was really short.
Maybe he was really short.
Thank you for joining us at our Peppin Short Talk. Please join us next time when we will talk about Peppin the Tall.
Wait, there is no such thing as Peppin the Tall.
Shh! That means we're not going to have another show.